All right, it's here. The future of Dune Awakening is upon us. So we've finally gotten a note with both a roadmap and what is coming in the short term for Dune Awakening. In my typical fashion of uploading the knowledge in my videos, basically we'll be getting a Chapter 2 DLC pack, as well as a massive free update to the game. That looks like it's coming here in just like September. They didn't really give any indication, just saying that it is pretty quick. We also now have a roadmap here, and this says September 2025 for Chapter 2, as well as Lost Harvest being the DLC. Again, in that upfronting the knowledge kind of mindset, main story continues, character recustomization, dynamic encounters, social hub contracts, new deep desert layouts, new archetype armors, new hairstyle and tattoos, and more. They've also said some things that are going to change our stuff, like cobalt pace and how much it takes up in your inventory, being able to swap into other seats within a vehicle. So if you're in a buggy and you want to swap to your mining laser, you can do that. Being able to rename the storage, your buggy, your vehicles, everything. Those are all coming in that Chapter 2 patch. Now, September 2025, we have with that DLC, a new vehicle. It's a pretty cool vehicle. We'll see in a second here. New contract chain with unique locations, new building pieces and decorations, new armor and weapon skins, a new swatch and new emotes, and more. And there's also going to be like a prelude quest. So if you're familiar with Final Fantasy 14, whenever they go to add a block of MSQ, they usually have some sort of prelude quest or like things leading up to it, right? Usually a series of quests per patch before a major DLC. So we'll be getting that here in Dune Awakening. But that's it. Too long didn't watch this entire video. If that's all you wanted to know, then please feel free to go ahead and shut the video down. I will have a, oops, that's, if you're playing EverQuest, that's how you get a Ranger Epic. If you want, I have a link to this whole entire article, which will have the trailer as well as what else is coming in Chapter 2. And you can find that linked in the comment and the description. I could edit that out, but it's too funny not to. Holy crap. But if you are heading out, please don't forget to like, comment, or subscribe, as each one of those things does help me out in a huge way. Also, you can check out my Twitch linked below, where I stream this game, Warframe, and plenty of others every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. But let's get started here on the future of Dune Awakening. So to get us started, let's just watch this Chapter 2 announcement trailer together. I actually haven't even watched it. I woke up this morning, saw that this thing had been posted, and I figured let's do it together as a team. So we'll bring this right here, and I'm just gonna not talk.
The Mithra's in pieces, the cargo's vanished, and no one knows what it really is. Arrakis is full of secrets. Ancient things buried deep. I need your help, stranger. That package is the key to everything. Find it, and don't let anything stand in your way.
There's been a string of murders across the capital. I don't know who we can trust.
You will work with my investigator and stop this killer before he strikes again.
Remember, and I was like, we don't know when it's coming. Oh my gosh, there we go. We see it, September 10th. So that'll be coming out September 10th here. We'll be able to jump into that second chapter. And it's nice too, is that everything in this trailer is all directly from the free update, not the DLC. So let's now jump into the actual post and see some more information. Opening up here, we've got some information to jump into now. Our update for Dune is structured into 3 major content updates in the form of books and chapters, and paid content in the form of DLCs and expansions. Generally, chapter updates will be released in parallel with DLCs. Now, if you've played Conan Exiles has been around now for a long time. And Conan Exiles has actually, it had a really rough launch, from what I remember. And it has a very good support system. They roll out a lot of really cool patches, free content patches. I don't think that there's any actual DLC for Conan Exiles. Someone please correct me. I only played Conan Exiles for the first time last 3 years. But like, for example, they did a major update to add magic to the game, a whole entire magic system, and it's just a free update. So I expect we'll start to see a lot of that stuff coming. Like this is a major main story content update, and that's free. So that's cool to see. Excited about that. So player recustomization. So if you don't like the way your character looks, you can now recustomize them. They're covered in a helmet anyway, but you know, it's nice to know it's there. Chapter 2 will be our first major content update, embarking the next chapter of the main story following the sinister revelations at the end of chapter 1. Alongside the continuation chapter of the story, chapter 2 brings several new contracts, new dynamic encounters, new archetype armors, character customization, and more. So I'm excited to see what those dynamic encounters are like. Is that going to be like a public event that multiple people join into, and then people get a reward at the end based off their contribution, a la like a Warhammer Age of Reckoning, or any number of systems that have copied that since it has come out. Then we have the Lost Harvest paid DLC. Now that is what looks like. Let me take a look at this again. Yeah, the new vehicle is in the DLC. So the DLC includes, will complete a standalone. It has a standalone storyline. Okay, so it has its own storyline aside from the main story that will act as its own kind of quest. So I guess an easy parallel here would be take a look at any time you've played an Elder Scrolls game, right? Any of those DLCs are separate stories from the main game. So that's, I think, a good way to envision it. So a carryall transporting a Miners Guild spice harvester has been shot out of the sky, and its cargo could change everything. Your job is to find it. The DLC also includes several unique cosmetics, including a brand new vehicle, the Treadwheel, complete with its own unique animations and tier upgrades. I wonder what tier that it's introduced to the game for new players, I wonder. Other cosmetics include several armor and weapon skins and the Dune Man building set, letting you build bases in the style of those pragmatic and weathered workers of Arrakis. Well, you know, after being a big builder boy myself, I'm more just curious at like individual parts I would put into my own stuff, which is cool. So the DLC on its own is $12.99, or it's in the season pass for $24.99. I think this is the season. And these are DLCs, 1, 2, 3 DLCs. So for $25, it looks like you'll get 1, 2, 3 versus $12.99 each. So that's actually a pretty good value. Usually season passes are pretty predatory. So it's nice to see that that's how that's going to work. But then we're in 2026, we're going to get an expansion, which they said is different, right? There's two types of free contents, and there's free updates, and there's two types of DLCs. So expansion was the other one outside of the DLC. So we know that that's coming here, consoles and more free updates as well as more DLCs in 2026. Also, they have introduced this is from a different blog post, but they said this is how they're pretty much going to address things on a per month basis for patches, monitor player feedback, bugs and cheats, reproduce internally, implement fixes and improvements, patch test to live, tweak as needed, patching to live, and then rinse and repeat. That's the feedback cycle they're going to be approaching for all things within the month that's not brand new content. But pushing us further down here is kind of a breakout of everything, right? So here's just the DLC, and then here's just chapter 2, the free update. So we have the treadmill. I'm going to zoom in more for those of you that are on mobile. I don't think it's actually working very well. So here is the treadwheel. We can see 3 Imperial testing stations, plunge the depths of 3 expanded Imperial testing stations. That's good, because I like the dungeons, but I do kind of want them to kind of be like 20 minute sinks. I think it'd be really fun to like jump into one that's like a lot longer, and you really have to prep for it. Like, okay, I gotta strip down my inventory, and I gotta go into this thing, and by the time I'm like halfway through, I'm gonna have to like start rationing the items I really want to keep. So I'd like to see longer test stations. New journey, the Lost Harvest. This is the actual story. 5 new base decorations. So a hologram of the wheel. Looks like a bench of some sort. These 2 little things. I don't know what maybe the stuff in the background is. Decorations, or maybe that's just the internal wall of the Dune Man build pieces. So this is the Dune Man, very similar to the default yellowish. It's not Chome, is it? The default yellow building tiles that we already have. It looks like it's actually more of like like a better look, I guess you could say, and less woody, I suppose. 2 new armor skins here, which I think those aren't. I think that's not plasteel. I think that's aluminum, the aluminum based armor. 4 weapon skins that looks pretty damn sick, and then a thumper emote. Now for the free update, story continues, character customization, the contracts, new missions await in Harko Village and Arakeen. So curious to see what those are going to be like. More dynamic encounters, new surprises await in the desert. So very, very, very vague on that. New hairstyles and tattoos, which is great because I'm bald, so I like to really flex into things that I can't do anymore. And then archetype armors, 5 new armor sets to represent each skill tree. Interesting. So we have like a trooper here. Is this a trooper? No, maybe this is the swordmaster. This is your Bene Gesserit. Maybe this is your explorer, or this is your explorer, and one of these is the trooper. And then this is well, I would have said Sook Doctor, but maybe this is the Mentat then. So we'll have to see what these look like, how they kind of, archetype armors are exciting because I think what's kind of crappy is no matter what armor you wear, light or heavy, you're stuck to that type of armor's cosmetic choices, right? You can't wear light armor stuff on a heavy armor and vice versa. Very much the same. You can't use any of the social pieces that we've unlocked through like Twitch drops. You can't use them on anything unless first you're using social clothes. And I've never worn social armor in the game once. So I'd like to see that system pushed around to more pieces. And these archetype armors sound like a system that does that. Like, hey, archetype armors exist across all 3, light, heavy, and social. So I'm excited to see some more of that coming out. So all this seems really exciting. I think at first blush, it's really cool. I do want to see a little bit more of what it means though. Like what are dynamic encounters? What are contracts? Because I think what's happening is the end game gets a little static and plain right now. And that's fine because it's very early. And I think that the end game is eventually going to become amazing. I have very high hopes for this game. So I am stoked on this. I just want to know more of what this means. They did say that they want to leverage, I think for the contracts it is, maybe it might be in this blog post. They have a free trial coming out, in-game event that is coming, and then a developer live stream, then a vinyl. I think it's for this that they talk about it. If they want to use map, over, aha. So here it is. So as the planned activities, we have plenty in mind. Well, here we go. Here's the information on. We have plenty in addition to the current testing stations and shipwrecks. The following list contains examples and not promises, as these will take work and time to deliver. But currently we are thinking of things like assassinations, treasure maps, races, construction challenges, duels, faction versus faction maps, improved control points, scavenger hunts, temporary crafting challenges, etc. These activities will make use of the overland map, which is the world map. Spawning in new maps is required. We have always wanted to flesh out the overland map over time, and this will boost that along. So that's a kind of a cool way to leverage the overland map and allow us to have more fun with it. And in addition to, I guess it's worth noting here, they are going to be changing the way the Landsrad works, or Landsrod, I believe it is. Of course, we're open to suggestions. Okay, as the Landsrod activities become more fleshed out, we'll then transition the Deep Desert back towards the original intention. Nope, it's not that one. Here it is. Landsrod activities will become contract-based rather than delivery-based, which will allow us to effectively remove the issue of stockpiling that is currently endemic in the game. So basically, people can't just simply stockpile, go, and turn in. It's going to be active based off that contract. So the contract has to be live in order for you to get the benefit. So that'll be really exciting to see because it will effectively really change the Landsrod and allow for Harkonnen, which is typically the underdog on most servers, a chance to have a fighting chance by being able to just focus down specific contracts as fast as they can to get what they want, to have an actual competition versus, hey, we've stockpiled all these things. It's the new day. It's the new week. We're just going to go dump them onto Landsrod and win everything over. So those are all the big things coming for Dune Awakening. And I think that it's really exciting. I think it's really cool to see this roadmap, revamp Endgame and more is in chapter 3. They kind of talk about it right here. And they talk about it right here that they want to basically change the deep desert, add no fly zones and the such. That'll be exciting. But in January to March, we're looking at cosmetics of Broken Lands or Shattered Plains of Broken Rocks, known for their fearsome raiders, and we know that the Water Wars are coming, so Kevin Costner is going to be added into the game. Chapter 4, though, we don't know what that's going to include, but I think a big revamp to the endgame is going to be huge. I don't think that this is necessarily a date that's set in stone, because this was originally October 2025 for Lost Harvest. So I think that this is just like a, hey, here's a general feel for what we're thinking, not set in stone. Like I said, this update's basically coming at this point a full month ahead of time. So maybe Raiders of the Broken Lands comes in December if we're lucky. We'll just have to see. But I think just kind of bet for it to come in January, because many games don't want to compete with game launches in Q4 if they're just releasing DLC, right? Like if I'm doing Awakening, doesn't matter if people play my game or don't play my game. I'm not going to put a DLC out stacked up against like a Call of Duty launch, a Battlefield launch, a GTA 6 launch. Like I mean, we know GTA 6 is going to be the Q2 2026, right? So imagine Water Wars will not be around that launch in any way, shape, or form to try to not get all of his attention sucked away. So we'll have to see how this all shakes out, but I'm really excited for the future. Go ahead and let me know in the comment section below. Does this excite you? Are there more things you want to see about Dune Awakening? And they've mentioned a lot in this blog post, which I'll also put into the in the comment section or in the description, like instance deep desert loot, offline notifications about important events like your taxes being due or your power running out, improved player logging so you know why things are disappearing, vehicle salvaging system so that you can salvage systems or vehicles that you've lost. So all that is coming with this patch, and this is currently being tested right now. So a lot of this stuff is all really exciting things that I didn't quite cover, but I wanted to talk more about that big long-term stuff that I think a lot of people are really excited about. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching here today. Have a good one and take care.